Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Sidibaba was a very unique and interesting game. And it was a game where one person was leading people through this maze that they couldn't find. And the players, it was one versus all, the players kind of had to feel their way around this maze. Have you ever played one of these games kind of before? And there was loot and things you had to get, and then you had to do something and get out. And the whole time you're kind of building this map in your head, and you can only see one path at a time. This will make more sense when you see the flow of the game. Well, it's a very interesting game, and I think it's very unique, but I think there's a reason why you haven't seen people copy it. One, it probably wasn't very... It probably didn't sell very well. It probably didn't make a lot of money. The second thing, it became a little bit broken when, I hesitate to use that word, when my friends like, just always turn left. If you always turn left, you'll find your way out. I don't know if that's true or not, but he was able to successfully win using that strategy. It's a very obtuse game. It's very abstract. It's going to go for a certain type of person. If you used to like Zork, if you used to like those kind of word games you would play, I think this would be really good for you. And if you remember these games, like this reminds me of an old Nintendo Entertainment System game, an old NES game, where you go through these little tunnels, but you only have limited information about what you're going to see. It's really going to appeal to people. For my taste and the gaming groups that I have, this just didn't really fit. But you have a lot going for this game. It's very unique. It's very neat. I mean, just the system and the way that it works is very cool, and I like the way it works. And it's a good game that I would say that most people probably should try this game out and see if they like it. It definitely takes an RPG kind of feel, although it's not an RPG game, and drops it and says, okay, look, we used to have these like computer games that did this. Here's a board game that does that. And I find that very, very interesting. And I'm actually kind of surprised that somebody hasn't picked this ball up and ran with it and kind of improved upon it. But Sidibaba is a really neat, interesting game. One that I would probably tell you to pick up and play. If you get an opportunity, if you're walking on a con and somebody has this up, definitely jump in there and say, hey, I want to try this one out, and just have that unique experience that you're going to find in here. It's a 1v all, and I think the person kind of running it, you want to make sure everybody's having a good time. But you can also play pretty hard to play against them, which I think is important in these 1v-alls. But you're there to also facilitate everybody's having a good time. There is a timer mechanism to this game, so if you don't like real-time games, this one is going to have that, and that's kind of, without it, the game doesn't really work. So, for me, this one's going to be a purge, although this is a game I held on for a long time due to its uniqueness. I just don't have anybody to play it with. The people I did play with it were like, yeah, it's okay, and then kind of were ready to move on from it. So, it's more of a playing group thing than it is a comment on the game. But this game is so unique and so interesting, and it does work, and it's a very good game. Sidibaba, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. You can see the explorers coming in, and here's the evil guy that will be in the game, and there is the genie with the lamp. So a little bit like that, like Aladdin theme. Is that fair to say? Look inside, you have a rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. These will be the maps that the evil player, because it's a one versus all, will be utilizing. This will be his mask, where the cave where you'll be entering in. You're going to have a little tracker here that you'll have. A bag with all kinds of jewels and stuff in it, and these are really hard cardboard. Look really good. You get a whole bunch of this. This will be your little trinkets that you'll be using. Everything is really nice cardboard. Here is the magic lamps, as you can see, that you'll be using as you go in. You're going to get an hourglass. Very old-fashioned here, instead of using an app. The movement that the characters will be using, all very hard cardboard. Then you'll have these that you'll put inside the cage. As people go through, you can kind of see the direction of what you're looking at. Very hard cardboard, only one-sided. So the components are actually very good in this. You can see the artwork in this is just beautiful. I mean, I really think this is some great artwork they have. Something you could totally frame if you wanted to. So, excellent job. So here's the rule book. It's going to come in a lot of different languages. I speak English. If you're listening to this, you probably do too. So you go to page 18, that you'll see here, a picture of all the components, which is fantastic. A little bit about the game. You need to be honest when you're playing it, kind of like an overview of the game. Then this will be setup that you're going to have. This is for the players. This will be for the evil player, one versus all. And then it'll kind of go through the game. The game is very easy to play. What happens when the timer runs out, a little flow chart that you can use depending on if you're evil or good. And then if you find a chest or a treasure, what happens if you're a good guy, what happens if you're a bad guy. It's just broken up brilliantly. Brilliant. And then just what little of the tiles can do and whatnot. What some of the events can do in the game, all listed and broken down. how to score at the end of the game, and the game itself, and how it ends, and who is directed to be the winner. Excellent job. Very simple rule set here. Very good rule book. So the setup is very easy for the players. If you're not being the evil one, you will take your character and put them here in a row. I'll lay them flat just so you can see, but they're on standees. This will be the order that you're entering in. So this guy will be going first. You will get 3 coins to start the game, and you have 12 lamps that you will divvy up. This time it's divvying up evenly, so 4 for each player, 1, 2, 3, 4. But no matter how many players you have, you're going to be divvying up 12, and sometimes people can have an uneven amount. Setup for the bad guy is very easy. You choose one of the 2 boards. They're all double-sided, and you put the treasure out. There'll be 5 of these ones. Make sure you put them on the unopened side. The other side will be open. You can hide them anywhere you want. It doesn't matter where they're at. You can put them wherever you want. You try to hide them where they can be harder to find. The big treasure can go on the board. You will take your marker. You would take the events like this, shuffle them up, flip over the top one. You will also have your boards ready to go. You can see they all have tabs on them. You don't have to put them in any kind of order because it'll be very easy to see what tabs you have on the side. Now keep in mind, all of this is going to be behind the screen. The other players will not be able to see it. So just be aware of that this will be viewable only by the one bad guy. Everybody else can't see what's going on here. When it is the player's turn, they're going to place a lamp down. This is going to signify that you have 3 minutes to go. At this point, you will turn over the hourglass. You can't really see it, but the hourglass will start ticking down the time, and the players will have 3 minutes to take their turn, and they will go through. Once the timer's up, something will happen, which I'll explain in a minute, but you only have so many of these lamps to find out the conclusion of what you're trying to accomplish and get out. If they're still... Now, the losing condition for these guys are going to be if they don't have any lamps and they're still stuck in the maze, or if they end up on the same location as the bad guy, the leader of the thieves, then they would also lose the game. Now, the players are going to discuss where they want to move, and that when they're ready to make a decision, they will take their marker and put on which of these positions that they want to move. Now, these are going to do different things. These are let you stay in the same place that you're in, but you will turn a certain direction. So this one will allow you to turn left, rotate on your spot to face backwards, or turn it in your place to the right. So your guy would go like this to the left, this way to the right, or this way to turn backwards. And that will be corresponding to the map that's over here. This spot, move forward 1 space and then turn left, move forward a space, and this one says move forward a space and then turn right. So depending on which direction you want to go, you will put your marker here, and that will be signified by the player who's playing the bad guy. Now at this point, it's important to note that you cannot take any physical notes. The players will be going through this maze that the bad guy has access to, but they do not. So they will kind of be taking mental notes. They can't take any written notes at this point. Everything's in your head in a discussion that you're having with the other players. So while this is going on and they're picking where they want to go, the dungeon master guy, the king of the thieves, will be looking here and only will be able to see this. So let's say they decided to move forward 1 space. He would move the triangle up 1 space, signifying what they chose to do. Keep in mind the players cannot see this. Then there's a number located right here. It says 7. So you would take, out of all the ones you have, the spot of the 7 and show the players this. And this would go in front of your screen. So normally this would be the screen that they'd be looking at when they first opened. Now this would be what they would see in front of it, giving them an idea of what the location is going to look like in front of them. Keep in mind, this is all occurring in real time. So the Dungeon Master needs to react quickly to this as possible. Now, if there's anything on the space, like a landslide or treasure, the King of the Thieves needs to notify them what is going on in here and what is happening at the location. Then, in real time, the players will continue to move. So they might want to move forward another spot. This guy would come here. They go, hey, we want to move forward another spot. They would come here to move forward. And once again, I would notify what's going on. They're facing the 5. So then I would go to this, pull out the number 5 as quickly as possible, and show them this is what they're looking at. Then let's say they wanted to just turn right this way, which would be the 7 again. So I would quickly pull out the 7 as quickly as I could, but tell them there is a treasure in front of you. So in front of you is a treasure, so they would know that that is sitting there. Now, once your 3 minutes are up, and the King of Thieves will be keeping track of this, he will discard this lamp and start the 3 minute over. And now the adventurers get to decide who's in front of the line, and that person would spin one of their lamps. Keep in mind, while they're arguing about that, the timer is going. If it runs out and there's no further lamps to give because the adventurers are out of lamps, then your King of Thieves would be the winner of the game. If there's ever a disagreement on how to move, whoever is in the lead will break the tie and make the decision. Now, if the adventurers are moved on a spot that occurs and there is a treasure there, then what you would do is you find one of the 5 chests. I will draw 1 token from the bag for each adventurer and place it on the table. So let's say there's 3 adventurers. You would place this on the table. I'm placing it here just for easy access. You wouldn't actually put it on your mat. You put this where they could see it. Then you would flip this over to signify that it has been looted. Now, in line order, each one's going to take a jewel. So this guy might take this one, leaving this one for him, and that one for her. The only difference between finding this one is that there would be 2 out per player. At that time, they would draw 2, so you'd have 6 out in this case. And then we get to choose based on having 6 out instead of just 3. It is possible for a curse to come out. If this curse comes out, then whoever's in the lead will go to the back, and then you would have to discard a lamp. So it'll make time go by a little bit faster, but the players will have less time to play. Now these here will give you 1 point or 8 if you have a pair of them, so there's a little set collection going on with that. Some of these will just give you 2 points at the end of the game. You can also possibly pull these genie tokens out of the bag. They will do different things. For example, this one says, under the pressure of the genie, the leaders must tell the adventurer the first movement they must make in order to move towards the nearest exit. This one's going to help you by collectively handing over jewels worth at least 3 points to the genie. He will be happy to oblige the leader of thieves indicate the first 2 movements to the adventurers. So you get 1 for free, but if you give up 3 jewels, he'll tell you 2 spots that you have to move to get to the nearest treasure. So that can be very valuable. And these genie ones will pop out. They will be able to help you out. And there are tokens that will come up to help the leader of the thieves. He can use these anytime the adventurers move on to a new square. And for example, this one says, you can use this event to move the leader of thieves 2 squares. So you can move him 2 spots on the board. Or you can cause a landslide. You can block a space of your choice. With the landslide token, you must leave at least 1 free path. So I couldn't put it right here because it would block any access to that. But maybe I'd want to put it here if these guys were coming up this way. That way they had to go all the way around. Or maybe I'd want to block this way because they might not find out that the treasure is over there. Now the players need to get all of the treasure and then exit one of the exits. They do not have to exit the way that they came in. At the end of the game, they would all count up how many victory points they have. Whoever has the most coinage will win the game. Remember, everybody will escape, but there can only be 1 winner. And that's how the good guys win. Who should buy this game? Anybody who play like those old role-playing games where you kind of walk and you're walking down a path and you can't really see around you. If you don't have any idea what I'm talking about, then, this may or may not be for you, but the nostalgia factor on this game is going to be really cool for a lot of people and one I can actually recommend. If you have somebody who wants a dungeon crawler, but they're looking for something a little bit different, and, rolling dice and miniatures on the board, this one's going to use the imagination a little bit more. It's going to work really well with kids, although I think it'll be really hard for kids. You're going to need somebody, maybe an adult, leading the group and kind of remembering where you've been, because you're going to get lost sometimes. And the intent of the game is for you to get lost. So that works against, I think, kids playing it. But if they had a strong adult who can kind of lead them down, I think they could enjoy the game. This is a very neat game, and I would say most gamers should at least try this game out. It's very cool, and I like what they were going for here. The game absolutely 100% works, and it's a lot of fun. I just don't have anybody to play it with, so it's going to be a purge. Very easy for me. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel, lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing.